came to my attention that Triple J is doing their hottest 100 versions of all time. If you're not familiar, Triple J is government-funded youth radio. Used to be really into it when I was younger. Don't listen anymore. But that's not a criticism of the quality. I just have grown out of it. It's for I think it's for 16 to 24-year-olds. And as the music changes and you no longer know any of the artists, I just sort of lost interest in it. But it's still thriving. And every year, of course, they do the Triple J Hottest 100. I haven't voted in that in a while. That's listener voted. You vote for your 10 favourite songs of the year, and then they count down the top 100. I haven't voted in a long time because I've just been out of it. But now they're doing the Hottest 100 versions. And a version on Triple J is basically every Friday on The Breakfast Show, a band will come in and they will do a cover of another song. That's why it's called a version. It's a different version. And I love the versions. I always watch them on YouTube, and I have for a really long time. And I think they're the best part about Triple J, and they're a really good sort of marketing thing for Triple J to get publicity and hype around the bands. And some of the bands even now play their versions in their live sets. And so I wanted to vote on these, and I thought it'd be fun to count down my top 10 on the podcast this week because there are so many good ones, and it was really hard to choose. And I think the one thing about a cover when it comes to music, and I'll talk about this when it comes up in the ones I've choose, I think covers, particularly when they're not just sort of straight covers exactly the same, done in the exact same style. I think covers when they have a stylistic shift and a little bit of a difference of instrumentation or a different kind of arrangement, they can really bring out a side of a song that you already love that maybe you didn't realize how amazing it was. Particularly lyrics. Sometimes if a different singer sings someone else's song and sings it a bit differently or has a different style of voice, it can just make some of the lyrics can just resonate harder with you, or just the whole style can change a song's meaning or appeal to you. And I think a lot of the ones I chose kind of have that vibe. And I'm sure these 10 could definitely change to it. There were a bunch on my short list that I didn't vote for, but I thought there's one clear front runner that I definitely had to talk about, and I think this will probably win. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it'll definitely be in the top 5. And that is the amazing and incredible DMAs cover of Believe by Cher.
Do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think you're strong enough now. Do you believe?
I think, first of all, I remember when that aired on Triple J, because these would air on the radio, and Triple J used to be my alarm when I was at uni. This is 2016, I think, and my alarm went off at whatever time it was, and I heard, DMAs is doing a version, and I was still half asleep, as I always am. My alarm goes off, and I'm one of those people who sets heaps of alarms. Alarm goes off, and DMAs are we're doing Believe by Cher, and I was like, what? And then they come out with that, and go and listen to the full thing. It is the most beautiful arrangement of that song, which is a phenomenal song to begin with, don't get me wrong. That really upbeat, auto-tuned pop, Cher's voice, and it's great. But then they just bring out this, and I love DMAs as well, one of my favourite bands of all time, and they just come out with this soft rock, beautiful, kind of soothing version of it.
Do you believe in life after love?
I just thought it was incredible. And I think that's exactly what I mean, having a unique arrangement of a song, just the whole vibe of that song changes. It still is that song, but it just has a different vibe. You appreciate it a bit more. It's soothing, it's calm, but there's so much emotion in the vocals and the instrumentation, and I love it. So that's my number 1. The rest are just in a random order, I think. And this one, which is a bit of a wildcard one, which was by a group called AB Original, which was fronted by Briggs, who's an Indigenous rapper in Australia, and they did a rap cover of Paul Kelly's song Dumb Things, and Paul Kelly was there playing the chorus, and then they rapped over the instrumental that they were playing. It was awesome, and it also had a great political message of, talking about Indigenous issues in Australia coming from a group that was, two Indigenous Australians, and Paul Kelly was incredible. It was awesome.
Sending the clowns, they're black facing, they're locking our cousins, they're locking our brothers, but they ain't leaving the station. The date's changing. In the middle.
Pretty sure they had Dan Sultan doing the backing vocals with Paul Kelly there and playing guitar. Incredible. One of my favorites of all time. Just so powerful. And taking that song, that Paul Kelly song, and Paul Kelly is just such an iconic Australian singer-songwriter who has such a great history in Indigenous rights and stuff, and then bringing him in to do this new version of the song as a Leica version. Perfect. Dune Rats, a pop punk band here in Australia, recently did an incredible cover of The Angels' Am I Ever Gonna See Your Face Again?
Am I ever gonna see your face again? No way that fucks my love. Am I ever gonna see your face again? No way that fucks.
Love the original song, and I do think that that song and that lyric, Am I Ever Gonna See Your Face Again, is so heart-wrenching and heartbreaking, but because it's in such an upbeat rock song, it doesn't communicate that in the way that I read it. And then obviously this one's pretty similar to the original, but I just love the Dune Rats, and I think Alex Leahy was in there as well, doing such a great, fun, pop punky kind of cover of it. It's amazing. Great Gable, another band that I don't know too much about, and a lot of these I honestly don't know heaps about, but Great Gable, I've heard a couple of their albums. Again, recently did this incredible cover of the classic Owl City song, Fireflies, which I actually think is such a beautiful and interesting song that's like this synthy, bubbly kind of song, but then they just did this almost stripped back indie rock version of it, and I think the vocals just nailed it.
And I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly.
I just again, it changes the vibe of the song, and the original's such a good song, but then this just indie rock stripped back version of it with these vocals, these glistening vocals, is so good. Continuing, a guy called Fergus James, again, don't know much about him, but he covered Benet's song, Soaked. Again, love the original song. Benet, of course, a female singer, putting a male voice to it as well. I love this one as much as I like the original.
Soaked up in my brain for another day. These things I'm trying to say get drenched and swept away. That's the truth. Soaked up in my brain.
I just think that funky bass and just having a little bit of a different beat to it really changes the song, really, brings out a new side of it. And again, both are amazing, but yeah, just thought that was incredible. Gang of Youths, one of my favorite bands, doing a Leica version of All My Friends by LCD Sound System. One of my favorite bands covering my favorite song in the world.
That's how it starts. We go back to your house. You check the chart.
Incredible. Love it. Just such Gang of Youths, just so amazing. And then Sticky Fingers, who I know are a controversial band, particularly in the Triple J sphere, but Sticky Fingers' cover of DMA's Delete, I always thought was incredible, almost as good as the original as well.
Don't delete my baby. Don't feed us still. In a quiet of nothing to the Antichrist. Don't delete my baby. Don't feed her now.
Last three. And these are all great for different reasons. Two of them are kind of more novelty ones, but I think that's why I like them. The first one is a group called Kasabian, who came in and did a cover that was like a mashup of Good Vibrations and the theme song to Sesame Street. And I just remember seeing it and thinking it was so creative.
On my way to where the air is sweet. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? How to get to Sesame Street.
Genuinely just thought that was so much fun and so good. And then more recently, a guy called grentperez, who I have, again, don't know much about, but should listen to more of him, did an incredible cover of the song Teacher's Pet from the movie School of Rock. Was so surprised when I saw it, and genuinely this is probably one of my favorites of all time.
Well, if you wanna be the teacher's pet, baby, you just better forget. 'Cause rock got no reason, rock got no rhyme. You better get me to school on.
And I think some of the bands often try to do stuff that's a bit out of the ordinary or unexpected or a bit novelty in hopes of going viral, because some of them do go really viral. But finally, and again, this is probably top 3, and this is one of the ones that I think just so perfectly encapsulates what I was saying about covers, that like an already incredible song can find new meaning with a new arrangement and a new vocal style and etc. Yellow by Coldplay, such a beautiful song. But then King Stingray, another Indigenous rock group from here in Australia, did a version of Yellow. And I just thought having the didgeridoo droning behind and having this completely Indigenous Australian inspired piece of music to a song we already know and love, and even the yellow, which, you know, the Indigenous Australian flag has the yellow sun in the middle of it, and I just think everything about this worked, and I just thought it was such a beautiful showcase of Indigenous Australia.
Look at the stars, look how they shine for you, and everything you do, and they are all yellow. I came along.
I highly encourage you to watch the full video of that. It is genuinely such an incredible thing to watch, and I just thought it was amazing. So, yeah.